Hey guys, this is Shoal from GuitarSkills.com, and today I've got 4 cool tips to help you move your chords from sounding like this to sounding like this. Right, nice and simple, but there's 4 very basic tips that if you follow them, all of the notes in your chords are going to ring out nice and clean, which means when you learn new chords, new chord progressions, you'll be able to learn new songs a lot faster because your chords are being played correctly. And that is what we're going to check out in today's video. All right, so the first tip is to play the string as close as possible to the following fret. So that means if I play a C note, which is the 3rd fret on the A string, I don't want to play it at the back of the fret here. So I'm going to get that note to buzz like this, which is not good. But if I move that close to the following fret, then it's going to sound out nice and cool. But further back, all right, so that is what you want to do, is make sure you get that note as close as possible to the following fret. Not on the fret, because then it's going to sound like this. So you want to be right next to the fret or as close as possible. All right, now let's take an A chord, for example. When you have an A chord like this with fingers 1, 2, 3, then it's going to be literally impossible for you to get this first finger right next to that fret, because you can't literally play all your fingers like this. They have to be angled slightly, right? All you have to do in that case is you're just going to have to apply a little bit more pressure, which is going to come with some of the following tips I'm going to give you. But also an A chord like this, if you fret it like this, so instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm playing 2, 1, 3. Now it allows me to get those notes closer to the frets, which means I don't have to use as much pressure in my fretting hand. So that is the first tip. Whether you're playing chords or single note stuff, play as close as possible to the fret, otherwise you're going to get this happening. That sounds terrible, right? But if I play it close to the following fret, it's going to ring out nice and clean. So the second tip is that you need to be using the tip of your finger to play the strings. And what I mean with that is, if you look at your finger like this, right? You've clearly got a fingertip right here, and then you've got your fingerprint area. Okay, the fingerprint area, if you hold your hand like this, will be right in front here, whereas the fingertips will be right on top. So when we play guitar, we want to use the fingertips and not the fingerprint areas, because I've seen some people try and use the fingerprint area, and then what happens then is their fingers kind of point upwards like this, and the chord will sound like this instead of like this. And that's all because it wasn't being played with a fingertip. Okay, so that is the second thing you need to focus on. Now, the third thing you definitely want to do in order to get nice and clean chords, as you are playing your chords, you want to make sure that with your fingertip, your string is literally kind of in the middle of that fingertip. You don't want your string to catch your fingers either too high or below. So let me see if that's going to show on the camera. It should show there. I kind of fretted this quite hard so that the strings leave a little bit of an imprint in my fingers there. If I put my pick, for example, there where the strings made the imprints there, there's enough finger sticking out above where I catch the string and enough fingers sticking out below. Because if you do it the other way around, where let's just say too much of your finger is sticking out below because you're not kind of distributing you're using your fingertip where there's enough space below, above and below, then you're going to have too much of your finger sticking out on the one side. For example, if I use literally the top of my finger instead of the middle of my fingertip, then this note might sound fine, but when I get to this note, it's not going to ring out. Why? Well, because there's too much of my finger sticking out below, and therefore it's touching the next string. So that is why, if you can really make sure that the string is in the middle of that fingertip, then there's not going to be too much finger sticking out on either side. You're going to be able to fret that note with some clean, precise movement there. Tip number 4 is to use your thumb to apply some proper pressure. Now, the cool thing about the guitar is you don't actually have to use a ton of pressure in order to get your notes to ring out. In fact, some people use way too much pressure. You can actually ease up on your fretting and quite a bit. But what you want to do is you want to get your thumb to give you the support. I've seen some people, they try and play a chord with their thumb either over the neck or it's like behind the neck, somewhere like that, you know, and then they just can't get their chords to ring out and they wonder why. Well, it's because imagine you had let's say an orange in your hand and you want to kind of feel, you know, what this orange feels like, and you're going to squeeze it a little bit. This is the motion you'll use to squeeze that orange, right? So you want to do the same on your guitar. Make sure that your thumb can provide you with that necessary support. All right, and the other thing is, like, look at my hand. If I hold it like this and my thumb is here to the side, almost like the Island style sign. So if I put my thumb there, what happens when my thumb now moves to the middle of my, behind my middle and ring fingers? Look at that, okay? If it's here on the side, all the fingers crumple up together, and if it comes to the back here, literally that's what's happening there, okay? So that means when your thumb is in the middle, like behind your middle finger, so to speak, then it's easier for it to give you that relevant support here. And there you go. If you follow those 4 tips, your chords are going to sound nice and clean every single time. So let's review. Tip number 1, keep that finger as close as possible to the following fret, because too far away from the fret is going to give you fret buzz. Tip number 2, use the tips of your fingers and not the fingerprint areas. Tip number 3, make sure you put that string right in the middle of the fingertip. Otherwise, there's going to be too much finger sticking out and then touching another string, preventing it to ring. And tip number 4, make sure your thumb is behind your middle finger and applying some pressure in the same way you would do when you squeeze an orange. If you do those 4 things together, your chords are not going to sound like this. Instead, they're going to sound like this. And that is what you're going to need if you want to play songs nice and smooth on the guitar. All right, guys, really hope you enjoyed this lesson. We've got a bunch of other videos aimed at beginners. It'll show you how to play some cool songs, how to play some cool riffs, how to read chord boxes, how to read tab, whatever you need from a beginner's point of view. It's all going to be there aimed to get you up and running, playing some of your favorite songs as soon as possible. So if you enjoyed this lesson, please go ahead, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can get notifications whenever we release new videos like this one. And please leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Let me know what your favorite part of the lesson was and what other lessons you'd like to see more of in future. Then I'll get right on that. Really awesome hanging out with you today. Good luck with your guitar playing. Put the stuff into use and get some clean ringing chords so you can play some awesome songs. If you'd like to get more lessons like this, you should register for a free GuitarSkills.com membership today. Simply click the link in the description box and you'll get instant access to our private members area. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Comment below and let me know what else you'd like me to cover so I can give you what you need. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because I'm going to keep these videos coming.